Namaste and hello everyone. My name is Shavika and I am the founder CEO of Avika Limited. In today's video, we will be discussing about the India Young Professional Scheme launched by the United Kingdom in 2021, which is now open to Indian professionals to apply. We will be covering what the scheme is really about, what is the cost associated with it, who can apply, who can't apply, what is the eligibility criteria, and what are the documents that you will need, and when does the scheme actually open for public. So stay tuned because a lot of information will be shared, and keep a notepad handy because there's a lot of key details that you would want to keep handy with you when you're applying for the application. To simply put it for you, the India Young Professional Scheme allows Indians from the age of 18 years old to the age of 30 years old to come live and work in the UK. Now, you must wonder, in order to live and work in the UK, do you need a visa? To answer that, no. You do not need a visa-sponsored job before you apply for this scheme, or even before you apply for the ballot system. But the criteria remains that you should be 18 years old at the time you travel to the UK, or 30 years old by the time you reach the UK. Now, if you do turn 31 after you've reached the UK, that's a separate thing. Your leave remains valid until the next 2 years that you're there on that visa. So you must think the next question, that how does the ballot system really work? So the ballot will be open to Indian public on the 28th of February at 2:30 p.m. IST. This is something you must want to write down, and closes on 2nd March 2:30 p.m. IST. During this time, you can apply at any point between when the ballot is open and when the ballot closes. The details that you need in order to enter the ballot system are, I will read it out to you: your full name, your date of birth, passport details, a scanned or photocopy of your passport, a phone number, and an email. Please make sure that you write the correct email, because it is where you will find out whether you're successful, whether your entry was successful or not. Once again, the ballot is free to apply, but then there is an eligibility criteria that you must look into before you enter into the ballot. How will you be selected, and how does it really work once you have applied? Once you apply to the ballot system, within the next 2 weeks, if you are successful, people or applicants will be picked out randomly. That's how basically a ballot system works. So people or applicants will be picked out randomly, and from the closing date, which is the 2nd of March, 2 weeks from the closing date, successful applicants will be sent an email telling them or letting them know that they are successful on the ballot and can now eventually apply for the visa. In between lies the eligibility criteria, which we will be now talking about. Now, coming to the eligibility criteria for the Young Professional Scheme, like I said, the ballot is open for only Indian citizens. So you must have an Indian passport to begin with. You might be a resident in some other country, but you should be an Indian national, clearly stating that you should have an Indian passport. Secondly, you should be aged between 18 and 30 years old. So the day you're traveling, say for instance, if you're traveling on the 15th of September, you should be 18 on that particular date before you plan to travel to the UK on the scheme, and should be 30 years old. Anything under that, or exactly 30 on the day you travel. I did read into it whether you will be turning 31, say in the month of October, but you're traveling in September. That's fine. That's not a problem at all, because it is a ballot at the end of the day. So you're randomly picked. They don't know how old you are. You need to be precise with your details and meeting the eligibility criteria before you even enter the ballot. I will keep stressing on this because in order to make sure everything goes right, you need to make sure that you do meet the eligibility criteria to enter this free ballot. Now, the other eligibility criteria that I would like to mention are: you should have a minimum of a bachelor's degree or a master's or a PhD, but the minimum eligibility criteria educationally is that you should have a bachelor's, and they have mentioned on the website how you will be able to prove your eligibility. So in order to prove that you are a bachelor's, you need to submit your degrees or a letter from your college. In order to prove that you're 18 and above or under 30 is through your passport, of course, because your date of birth is mentioned on it. And another eligibility criteria, the two most important ones, are that you should have savings of £2,530 in your account, Now, let me clear this out because some of you did have the doubt whether this £2,530 should be available to you at the time you're entering the ballot. No, this is the amount you should be having before you apply for your visa. So the criteria is that on the date that you're applying for your professional scheme visa, based on whether or not you do successfully enter the ballot and get through it, based on that, you should have this amount in your account for 28 days in a row before you apply for your visa. So say for instance, you get your successful entry email on the 17th of March. Now you're planning to apply for your visa on the 30th of May. So you need to keep the £2,530 in your account between 1st May and 28th May, so that you are eligible to apply by 30th May for your professional scheme visa. Now, another criteria that you must be thinking about whether or not you're allowed to bring in dependents with you at the time of traveling. One eligibility criteria that has been clearly mentioned is that you should not have any children under the age of 18 that you're financially responsible for. So dependents are not, basically not. And if you have a partner that you want to bring into the UK with you at the time of application, then it's a different application, a dependent visa that you need to apply for, and they cannot travel with you on your professional scheme visa. Well, so that is the eligibility criteria to apply for the ballot for young professional scheme. I think in your head you know whether or not you're eligible by now, and if you've stuck around on the video till this point, then I'm sure you know whether you're eligible to enter into the ballot or not. Moving on, what is the cost associated with the ballot and the visa that we're looking into? So, like I mentioned before, you need to have savings of £2,530 in your account for 28 days consecutively before you apply for your visa. The application fee, which will cost you £259, that's for the visa, that you need to be paying at the time of applying for your visa. And there is a health surcharge of £940 into two, because you will get the visa for up to 2 years, 24 months. So £940 into two is what you will be paying for the healthcare surcharge. This basically allows you to avail NHS services in the UK and see your doctor every now and then if you feel you're not feeling well. So those really are the three costs that you need to be showing whilst you prove that you can support yourself in the UK. That is the 28 days of £2,530, application fee and health surcharge, so you can look after yourself while you're here. So by now you must wonder that the ballot is free. You move on a visa that is just given to you once you are selected. So basically, what can you do in the UK once you're here? It's very simple. You can work in most jobs once you do leave India and come to the UK or wherever it is that you are. Once you come to the UK, you can start looking for jobs, or even beforehand once you are applying for the visa. And you can be self-employed. You can register your own business in the UK, but it comes with a certain conditions. The number one condition is that you should register a business if at all you do, and your office or your premises that you work from should be rented. Secondly, anything that you own within the business should not be more than £5,000. What I'm trying to say here is that, say, anything within the office or the premises that is rented, your furniture, your technical equipment, should not be more than £5,000. And on this visa, if you do end up registering a company and not work for an employer, you cannot have employees working for you. So that's basically being self-employed but registering your company and not having employees who work for you. Another thing that you can do on this visa is study, in case you are intending to study for the next 2 years during your time here. But there are certain courses for which you would need an ATAS certificate. I have added the link in the description just in case you want to check it out and see if at all you want to study and your course falls under that category. So you would need that certification. If you need any further details on that, you can leave a comment below and I will answer that for you. Now, what you can't do on this visa. Now, this is also something very important, because you do not want to come here and then end up doing something that you're not allowed to, or you're not legally in a position to do that. So basically, you can't extend this visa. It's a visa for 2 years, up to 24 months, like I said before. So you can just stay for the next 24 months and then you will have to leave the country once your visa has expired. This is not an extendable visa, so you have to leave the country after 24 months. You can switch to another visa eventually, but that depends if you do at all get a sponsored job, or if you do end up applying for a business visa or a healthcare visa, depending on your situation. But this particular visa is not extendable. The second thing that you can't do on this visa is bring family. You cannot bring family members with you on this current visa, but you can apply for their applications separately. So this does not allow you to bring dependents with you. And the third thing that you can't do on this visa is work as a professional sports person, which is clear in itself. Now let's talk about all the documents that you would need at the time of your application. Number one, a valid Indian passport that you would require, obviously. Bank statements, like I mentioned before, that you need to show savings to support yourself, that is £2,530 in your account for 28 days. So for that, you need to submit bank statements showing that you've kept that particular amount for 28 days in a row. And you can check that amount based on this website called oanda.com. I'm going to put it down in the description below. So my personal advice would be that once you convert the amount, £2,530, just keep an extra. So even if the exchange rate fluctuates, you still have that extra amount in the account, and don't touch it, because you don't want to lose on that 28-day period, because it is stressful. I've been there. It is very stressful. So keep an extra amount on that, so you don't have to stress about going under that amount at any point in those 28 days. Now, evidence of your bachelor's or master's or PhD degree. That evidence will be a letter from your college that you have successfully graduated, or your degree, basically, that you have successfully completed your course and you fulfill the educational eligibility criteria. A TB test if you're living in India or any of the listed countries. In the description below, I will add the TB test centers that are qualified or eligible based on UK standards. I will put it down for a few cities, so it's easy for you to know, or I'll put down the list at least, so you know which countries actually need the TB test. I sure know that India needs it, or Indians need it. And then you need a police or clearance certificate from India. How to get it, I'll put the description below. There's a link, go on to it and you know how to find that. So we've discussed about most things about this professional scheme. What is it? Who can apply? What happens when you enter the ballot? What are the documents that you need? And who can you bring with you? What is the eligibility criteria? Now, in an unfortunate situation that you do not get selected, what happens? There's three things that happen. The ballot opens in February, so the ballot will again open in July. So say for instance, if you're not selected in this ballot and you do not get an email in the next 2 weeks, then you can apply for the ballot in the month of July. Will your application fee be refunded? No. Will your health surcharge be refunded? Yes. So keep in mind that you are using the amount that is spare for you in the case of the application fee that you will be paying for the young professional scheme. So that will not be refunded just in case your application is not successful, number one. Number two, you cannot appeal the decision. It's the final decision and you cannot appeal saying why was I not selected randomly. So keep that in mind. And thirdly, don't be disheartened, because the ballot will again be open in July and then again be opened in February of 2024. So you do have other opportunities where you can apply for this ballot eventually in the future. Awesome! I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. I have tried to put down all the information in this video regarding the young professional scheme. I hope you found all the details that you were looking for, but just in case you did not, then drop your doubts, questions, queries in the comments below, and I will try and answer them all for you. If not, I will research and bring that information available for you as soon as possible, because I know we're very close to the ballot. If you found this useful, also share it with someone you feel is eligible for this. I mean, I'm sure there must be someone that came to your mind. I've been sharing the link to a lot of my friends and people I think would be interested in this opportunity. So don't forget to share the video with people you might feel that are eligible. Don't forget to apply yourself on the 28th if you feel you are eligible for this particular scheme. And if you feel you might be eligible, say in the month of July, then wait on it and then apply in the month of July. Do subscribe to the channel because that really helps me and motivates me to keep creating for you and helping you out with a lot of career, lifestyle, and student life content, and also a lot of content on visas because I read a lot. So thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe to the channel and don't forget to apply on the ballot on the 20th of February, 2:30 p.m. IST, and good luck on your application. Thank you.